to another episode on Two Puerto Ricans and a Black Girl. Today's girl talk is, if I knew then what I know now, how would life be different? I'm the dope widow. I almost said I was a love guru, but I'm the dope widow.
Hey everyone, I am the love guru.
And I'm Mimi, the lifestyle diva. And here we go with another episode.
Yeah.
Everybody rocking their hats in their fall attire.
Yes.
So I got a question.
Oh Lord,
question. I'm always ready with your questions.
With my questions. Okay.
That's my favorite part of the show. Your questions.
So the topic is, if we knew then what we know now. So the question lies, what would you have done differently, say in present day, knowing what you know now? Whoever want to take the floor first?
I mean, I can go.
Go ahead, Gigi.
So I think for me would definitely be probably my career. I love what I do, and it's fulfilling, but it's not what my passion has always been. So if I knew then what I know now, I probably might not be teaching. I think I would have jumped, dived right into this whole entertainment business that I love so much. Been able to maybe have done not a podcast, but maybe I would have been hosting something because I absolutely love this forum. So that's one thing. I think that if I would have known how much I love this years ago, I would have just went for it and not allow anything to kind of to stop me, or allow my fear, rather. Let me correct myself. Allow my fear to stop me from doing something that I was just so passionate about. So that's this forum, fashion, the whole entertainment, everything in the entertainment business that I love. I definitely would have, probably would have been up there shimmering with Puffy. Yeah, because I won't stop. Can't stop.
That's so let me ask you a question. With that being said, why don't you do it now? It's never too late.
So I am kind of like, this is definitely a catapult to kind of living my dreams, to the things that I wish I would have done back then. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping, I know that this is going to open up so many doors. So I know that a lot of my dreams, whether it's hostessing or being on the cover of Vogue or the inside, I could work a little editorial. I know that I know that these things are going to be fulfilled. I just feel it in my spirit. I just wish that I didn't wait to this age to do things, because of course we have what we have behind us was a lot longer than what we have ahead of us. Mm-hmm. That's just reality. And I wish I would have just been in my element, but I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. So in hindsight, I can't really have that many regrets, because which we're going to get, it's something I'm going to talk about a little later, where the road that we took are things that have sharpened us, have molded us into the person that we are. Mm-hmm. So would we have been ready to do some of the things we wish we would have done back then if we didn't go through certain things in our lives?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. You want to go, Tweet?
Well, mine always reverts back to love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I probably wouldn't have entertained certain people.
For sure.
If I was able to see a little bit into the future, or at least was had a little bit more wisdom and a little bit more self-control on my feelings. I think I probably I wouldn't have entertained certain people in love. I don't regret it.
Right.
But because, as Gigi mentioned, I mean, I know you say you're going to talk about it moving forward, but I don't regret it, because it shaped me into the woman that I am today. It has made me strong. as a woman, it made me a mom, you know,
Right.
because I literally am talking about one person, but it made me a mom, which is the best thing that I could ever be. The best thing that I could have ever asked for was to be someone's mother. Uh, so I wouldn't take that part away, just the trials and the negativity and the toxic part of that relationship. I
Hmm.
probably I probably wouldn't have never engaged or given that person the time of day.
Right. You know what's so crazy? As we put this on our calendar, I kind of was like, the question was like a double-edged sword for me, because it was like, on one hand, if you didn't have this, then you wouldn't have this.
Mhm.
So my thing was, how do you make the better decision if you don't make the mistake?
Exactly.
How do you know how do you know how to love if you don't have hate? You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? So that's the perspective that I was coming from. Like, we chose to go down so many different roads that we probably shouldn't have went down. Like,
Mhm.
God is wanting us to go down this way, but we went down this way, but we went that way, and it taught us something. It made us who we are as women right now. And if we didn't have that, if we didn't have those mistakes, we wouldn't know how not to do that anymore. And
exactly.
I also think when you keep like repeating the same mistake over and over again, the lesson isn't still learned.
Hmm.
So that's why you have to keep, going through the mistake. And the only way, like you said, Jackie, you had wisdom, more wisdom now, and you wouldn't have had that if you didn't make those mistakes.
Hmm.
That's why I say, like, I don't have regrets.
Hmm.
Right.
If I did, if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have had my daughter.
Absolutely.
You know, which is my one of my biggest blessings in my life. So maybe I wish that I would have had the knowledge and the wisdom, and so I would have made a better decision. I would have done things. I would have been able to deal with things differently. Uh, Maybe I would have been able to speak in a different way. Maybe I wasn't I wasn't speaking to him in a certain way where he understood, and maybe we didn't have that relationship where we could sit down and have a conversation. Now as an adult, and as a person who has gone through certain situations, I know that the best way is to sit down with someone and discuss the issues and have a better communication with them. I stressed before that communication is not one of my strongest suits in relationships. I'm something that I'm working on, but if I would have known then what I know now, yeah, communication would have been something that would have addressed in that relationship.
Yeah. And what were you going to touch on, Gigi?
I was just thinking that something that I constantly say is that you learn from your mistakes. Mistakes are welcomed,
Hmm.
right? And that's something that I often tell my kids. And it's something that even as adults, if you make mistakes, don't beat yourself up. Like something that I do, I'm guilty of it. It's the I wish I would have's and I could have's and I should have's. And that's pretty much our topic. If I knew then what I know now,
Hmm.
right? But again, if you didn't live through those mistakes, if you didn't go down that path, would you be this person? Would you
Nope.
be married to the person that you were married to? Would you have children? Would the father of your children be the father of your children? Would you have 10 kids? Would you have no kids? It's like, would you be in this career path? Like everything happens for a reason. And we're here today. The thing about it is that instead of talking about the things you wish you could have done, you can still do them.
Absolutely.
As long as you have breath, you can still try to make those dreams come true. And you can say, even if it doesn't come out, you can honestly say, look, I gave it a try. I didn't try it back then, but I'm trying it now. It worked out, or maybe it didn't work out. But if you give it a try, I think that's what's important, not to beat yourself up going, because you can't go back in time.
Facts.
So
Yeah.
why ponder about something that you cannot change those decisions, but you can change the decisions moving forward.
Yes.
You
Hmm.
can't change the things of the past, which I think there's a lot of things in my past I wish that I would have changed. Jackie mentioned decisions in relationships, decisions in job choices. If I can go back, I probably would have done things differently. Even
Right.
college choices went
Mhm.
away. I probably wouldn't have lived in New York,
Right.
you know? But then would I be the person who I am now? Would I have
Right. Would you
people in
know
my
who
life?
us? Would you know us?
Would I know you guys? I mean,
the
I
whole
know
thing
her,
would have
I
changed.
know
Right.
Jackie, but would
Yeah.
I know you, Michelle?
Right.
No?
Right. The whole trajectory would have changed. But just jumping on that, as we were made, our lives were already
Mm-hmm.
planned out.
Exactly.
So the blessing in the presence, in the gifts that we are going to obtain, they're there. We just have to walk in them now. Even
Exactly.
if we took different roles, if we learned through different lessons, even if that wasn't the way that the Lord wanted us to walk, whenever we walk and stay focused in what we're supposed to do, it's still, that blessing is still there. It's ours. It can't be taken away.
You cannot.
Yeah.
Not.
It just would have been a different blessing if we would have taken a different path.
You think it would have been a different blessing?
I think it would have been a different blessing. So, what I'm gonna explain what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
If I wouldn't have met my daughter's father,
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't have had a child. I wouldn't have had my first child.
Right.
But maybe God would have blessed me, but he would have blessed me with something else, is what I mean. So it would have been a different blessing. It wouldn't have been my child, but it would have been something else, another blessing. Just because if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have entertained that person.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't
I
have
think
had
you
the
still would have.
blessing of
I
birth.
mean, I get what you're saying. I think you still, and this is just my opinion. I think you still would have had a child. I think that is what your blessing is, to be a mother. And it doesn't matter if it would have been with that person or would have been with somebody else. I think your blessing was still to be a person. That's why it's in your life. So yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. This was a tricky one. I was like, but if I didn't go down these roads, if I didn't make the mistake, how would I know not to do that again?
Exactly. Exactly. And this
You know?
topic is almost like it makes you think about, do you have regrets? And
Right.
so, do I regret my life? I do not regret my life, but I do regret certain choices that I've made. I've regret maybe some of my behavior in past relationships, like things could
Right.
have been different. Um, and even my choices, even as a mom, as recent, things that are even recent. I'm like, damn, I could have done that a whole lot differently. If I
Right.
knew then what I know right now, I would have probably approached things a lot
You
differently.
know what's so crazy hearing you say that? So both Jackie and I have daughters that are older than your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Already lived through all of nonsense that you're going through. So
Mm-hmm.
it's for us to pass on the knowledge and tell you,
Yes.
when you see these roads or hurdles coming ahead, like I always tell you, to push through, because you're going to be all right. Me and my daughter's relationship was strained
Oh,
to the max, to the max, to the max. Okay. And
emphasis on the
right. She is a blessing in my life now. Always has been, even when we were going through that. But when you are in the midst of, you don't see that. But God, as we always say,
Hello.
gonna pull you through and get you. But that's why the women ahead of you are supposed to pull your coattail and tell you, "Sis, you're gonna be okay."
I know. And the thing is also that when our kids get older, they might ask, they will, because I think it's just like a human thing to kind of ponder about your past and think about some of the things that you could have changed in your life. And I'm sure that they probably will ask themselves the same thing. God, if I knew then,
For sure.
what I know now, would I have done the stupid things that I've done?
No, because us, we say, I should have listened to my mom.
Yeah.
Right.
So they eventually will say the same
The
things. Like
same
if
thing.
I would have listened to
Yes.
my mom,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't have gone through all of this stuff. So if
Yeah.
I knew now what I knew then,
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't have gotten into this, certain situation. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna agree with Gigi when she said that it's not about like regretting your life, because I don't regret my life.
Right.
I was talking about the topic before we actually started recording, and I was telling that person, I said, like, I don't regret my life. I've lived a beautiful life.
Mm-hmm.
I've had ups and downs in certain situations, but like Gigi mentioned, I would have made different decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I
Right.
would have probably um, reacted differently in certain situations and in certain relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I'm sure I had a lot to, a lot of, maybe not, I don't want to say fault, but I had a role to play in certain relationships and in certain situations. So yeah, I probably contributed to it. So yeah, I think I would have changed my behavior in certain relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But the
And
decisions, yeah.
I'm sorry, Jackie.
No.
And now, as we learned those lessons,
Hmm.
the enemy is always around to see if we really value what we say we value.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, let me test her to see if she said she loves her husband, or she loves her children, or she loves this, she loves that. Let me really put it to the test and throw this little boomerang out there and see how she handles,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we always have to be aware that we always going to still be going through lessons until we to the day God takes us off this earth. So it's always going to be something to learn.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. And you know what? It's a great thing though, because it's a testament to growth. It's a
Yes.
testament to our maturity. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so although we don't have a smooth sailing life, because that's not why we were put here. We're gonna go through it, and that's our test. You know, that's how we show that we are faithful, that we trust, that we believe. That we know that God is the beginning, and He is the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a testament to our maturity, and it's a testament to our growth. So it's a great thing. It's a positive thing at the end of the day.
Don't it feel good for me right now in my life? The growth, you can almost feel it. Like your the way you handle things, the way you address things, the way you approach things is just so differently. And I just smile every time I say, "Wow." Back a few years ago, I would have handled this so differently. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like I've really appreciate that maturity. Yeah.
The other day, I'm gonna just share something quickly. The other day, I was in my car, and I got a message, and oh, my light is dark. I'm sorry. I don't know why you can't. My
Mm-hmm.
light is acting up today. Anyway, I got a message, and I looked at the message, and it was a message that if you would have looked at it, you would have felt like kind of hurt or kind of sad or whatever. And you know what? I didn't. And then that was in the morning, and then towards the end of the day, I look at my phone again, and it's like kind of a worse off message to that message, right? So I look at it, and I was like, I was fine. Like in my spirit, I felt so good. I felt okay. I didn't feel stressed. I didn't want to cry. And then I text my friend, and I said, you know what? I'm so grateful. I said, because this and this and this happened, and I received these two messages. And that 2 years ago, I would have flipped out.
Mm-hmm.
I would have
Mm-hmm.
reacted in a totally different way. I probably would have been crying. I probably would have been cursing up a storm. And you know what? I didn't feel that. I felt this peace that I was like, Jesus, that's you. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't have accomplished this peace, Lord, if it wasn't for you. And I'm so grateful. It felt so good to be like, wow, I have peace. I feel good. Like I have no worry, no concern. Like I was elated that afternoon. I was so elated. I was like, it felt so good.
For me,
That brings to mind that quote that everybody always say: "The battle's not yours; it's the Lord's." You
mm,
just let it go. Peace, man. When you can just live in peace, that is like an ultimate goal to be able to obtain. It's just to live in peace and
Yeah.
just let stuff, roll off your shoulder.
Yeah.
Everything does not, as I always say, need a reaction.
Yep.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for me, this we were, one of you mentioned growth. Oh, Jackie mentioned
Yeah.
growth. And for me, with all honesty, well, obviously, being the whole, going through the whole widowism thing, I've had those 6 years of growth. Um, and just that alone time, just again, allowing me to really reflect and think about my choices and my decisions. Because for a very long time, um, after my husband passed, I went through that. If I knew then what I know now,
Mhm.
like, wow, if I knew that he was gonna pass at such a young age,
Right.
maybe I wouldn't nitpick about the little stupid socks in the corner and the little stupid things that as female we argue about because we take advantage of our mate. We don't think they're going anywhere. You argue about the stupidest things. They could be perfect 95%. But as women, we find that 5% to argue about. And I went through that. Like, my God, if only I would have done this, if only. And so I did experience a lot of regrets, and was kind of a little angry with myself. But of course, I know that's almost like that whole survivor's remorse type thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was in the first few years of me being a widow. I went through that. And then just for me to see where God has really taken me from, and just even during this COVID, this pandemic, just the fact that God has even deemed me worthy enough to just wake me up on certain things and still allow me to reflect on my life and see myself and try to make these positive changes and see that I have purpose and kind of see where he wants to take me and that whatever I went through in my life, not to have, again, those regrets or not to ponder on the I wish I could have and should have with my husband, and just to see how he's changing me so that I can be better in my new relationship, so I can be a better person. And again, is that growing? You grow. But if you never take that moment to have that aha moment, that light bulb moment,
Yep.
you'll never be able to grow, and you'll kind of stay in that same space. You stay in that same space. And this time period that we have during this pandemic, when we were locked down, I think that was the most beautiful time to really just spend that time with God and really find who you are and just move forward with your life. Like, kind of just let things go.
It changed my life.
It certainly did
this
mine.
This pandemic has changed my life. It's changed my relationship with the Lord.
Yes.
I have to say, I think that it was a much needed time for me.
Yes.
Not that I wanted it to be under these circumstances. Absolutely not. I wish I would have known then what I know now. I would have just said, I wish I would have been more disciplined is the word that I want to use. I wish I would have been more disciplined with myself, and I would have sat myself still and said, I need to be one with the Lord. I wish that it would have been my decision, but I'm not mad that it was his decision, because he knows best. He knew that this is when I needed him the most. He knew that this is when I needed to be close to him. He knew that this is when I really needed the peace. When I was asking him for it, he didn't think I was ready. But he made sure that this time, during this pandemic, that he was going to show me that I was ready. So I think that this, although it was not a pretty time, but it was one of the most beautiful times that I've had with the Lord. So I'm grateful for the pandemic. If anything, it brought me closer to the Lord, and I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Right. That was beautiful. Like, what happened is you allowed him to lead. In this moment, you stopped trying to take control of your own life.
Thank you.
You stop trying to make decisions for yourself. You're allowed to hear the voice and say, just be still. I got this.
It's crazy, Michelle, because you say that, and I swore up and down.
You were doing that.
That I was surrendering it. I'm like, and I will tell him, God, take over. I surrender it. But then the next day, what was I trying to do?
Right.
Control it
Oh,
and fix
yourself.
it. And no, I don't know when I got the picture and when I stopped trying to take control. But you know what? It happened, and it happened without me even noticing that I wasn't trying to take control anymore.
Right, right. That's the way. That's the way. It's a blessing. It's smooth and steady. You the change happens and you don't even realize it. It's like, oh, I stopped. Like when people are going, I'm just using this as kind of random, using this as an example. Like when people are going to church and people are looking at them like, oh, why she got that on? It's like, leave that person alone. When when the Lord works on them and they feel like they need to stop wearing certain things, the Lord will affect them in such a way that they will do it. And that's what happened with you. He affected you in such a way that you just said, you know what? I'm just gonna let you have control of this, Lord. Take over my life.
It's the best
Completely
feeling.
take over your life.
Yes, it's the best feeling.
It is so
Yeah.
beautiful.
It gives you peace.
It
And
does.
this is why, in that situation that I just described to you, ladies, I felt nothing but peace. Like I didn't feel bothered. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel anything. I literally felt like crying, but from happiness because I was at peace. And I was like, wow, like this is what this feels like. This is
Yes.
amazing. It feels so good.
It does. Not to let things just bother you like that.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
No.
And for me, you know what? I'm so sensitive to stuff now. Like, I'm not a big crier, but things just make me cry now.
I
Like,
cry. I cry all the time.
I'm not a big crier. Like me and Griselle, we were actually at your house. I'll tell you about it later, but she'll know the situation that I'm talking about. We were at your house and she said something and it literally brought tears to my eyes. I was like, what
Right.
the hell is wrong with you? Like, why you, like, I just see every moment is just so beautiful to me now because I know that time and moments are so precious
It
Let
is.
me
that,
tell
you
you,
know, you have to
I
cherish,
Oh,
agree.
it is.
you know. So I value life more now. Not that I didn't value life before, but I value it where the decisions I make, I know that they can affect me. So I have to be more wise in what my choices that I'm making.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
And that's growth.
That is
Facts.
cool.
That is growth. I'm telling you, I think every conversation and every topic that we discuss here, it all
Oh yeah.
it all wraps around growth.
Yeah.
It does.
It all wraps around growth. It all wraps around peace,
Yeah.
love.
God.
Those are the things. Those are the things that move the world. Like if we had more love in this world, we would not be in this situation because there's no way that you can love and be having hate and all this kind of stuff for other people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
True.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Very true.
Aw.
Let me tell you, yeah, I feel a peace. Let me tell you, you just said that there's no way that you could have love and have hate for other people. I don't know why my camera is acting up. I apologize. Um, and yeah, like Gigi knows, and you, Mimi, that
Yeah,
I have this, there's this weight on me, but lately I'm just like I don't care.
right.
Like I
Come
feel so
on.
that I'm just like
I love it.
I don't care.
Yeah.
That's how you know God is just really, really working when you really allow Him. And that's what I learned during COVID. I mean, I've had my relationship with God, but this season, it has just been like, I cry sometimes, and it sounds crazy, but I cry sometimes when I think about because I'm in awe of God. When I think about how much He loves us, that He stopped an entire world just to get our attention.
Yes.
Because He has purpose for us. I've been here at times where I've cried just thinking about that. And even though so many people have perished and the time is just an ugly time.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, when you think of God and just the fact that, I don't know, he just thought that you was worthy enough to talk to you, to move you, to
Yes.
allow you to put things in perspective, to allow you to hear him. Because this season, he wants you to change for what he has next for you. You know, this is like a season of change. What did we, transition season?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a season for transition. And
For
so,
sure.
you know, if I didn't know the Lord then, where would I be right now? No, if I,
Right.
wait, let me get that right. If I knew then what I knew now. I'm so confused.
But okay, I know what you're
I
trying to
mean,
say, but we've always known the Lord.
Always.
Maybe not to this
Not
extent
to this
in our relationship with God,
Mhm.
but since we were little, we've always known the Lord.
Mhm.
Our
Mhm.
parents, have instilled that in us and taking us to
Sure
church,
did.
even also putting us in Catholic school where they
Mhm.
knew that we definitely would get the religious foundation.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was the start for us. And then it was our choice to continue,
Exactly.
the path if we wanted to continue, whatever religion. But, they gave us the foundation, which I appreciate so much because not a lot of people, these days have that foundation,
Uh-huh.
especially the young people.
right. The roots, long as the roots are planted, you're going to always go back to the source.
You are.
So the fact that the roots are always planted there, you knew what it was. The relationship had to develop just like how your relationship developed.
Mhm.
You
Yes.
understand? It's like any other relationship. If you don't spend time
Exactly.
with the Lord, then you won't know his voice. So
Mhm.
every time when people ask, how do you hear from the Lord? How do you know his voice? It's because I spend time with him. So I know what his language, when I hear his voice,
Exactly.
I know what it sounds like.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So you have to constantly be with him so that you can know what his voice sounds like for you. Because what he sounds like for Jackie, what he sounds like for you, Gigi, is totally different for what it sounds like for me.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to develop your relationship just like I developed my relationships with you ladies and anybody else who I want to develop a relationship with.
Exactly.
You want to develop the relationship, you got to put time into it.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. A relationship with God is like any other
Any
relationship.
other
You
relationship.
have to
Yes.
invest time
My God.
into that relationship. You have to nurture that relationship.
Absolutely.
So it's not like, okay, yes, I want a relationship with God and okay, that's it. No, you have to spend time with him just like you spend time with your boyfriend or your girlfriends
Exactly.
or your family. You
Right.
have to invest that time because how are you going to know him? He
Right.
knows us, but how
Right.
are we going to know him?
Him.
I knew then what I know now about the Lord. I would have surrendered my stuff years
Me
ago.
too. Me too.
Life
Right.
would have been a little cuter. I mean, of course, as a Christian, the enemy is constantly attacking, but I would
Right.
have known how to just stay still. And that's something I'm still learning because still there's things that I feel that I could, you know, but it's so beautiful when you surrender. And if I
Right.
knew
And just
that,
because you know the Lord don't mean that your life is perfect tomorrow.
Oh no.
no,
It's still a process.
crazy.
It's still a process. And
Yeah.
that's why in this season, you see so many people going through depression, they're going through these kinds of things. And those things are real. I'm not trying to
They are.
discredit them or anything like that, but you have to know that you have no control of what's going on now. So you have to just surrender it and allow the Lord to be and take over all those thoughts and all those things that come in your head because you have no control over them. It sounds real simple, but it that's what it is.
Trust me, it's not as
Right.
simple as it sounds.
No, it's
It takes work.
not.
It takes courage. It takes
Yeah.
a lot of courage. Um, it's not easy. I suffer from anxiety, so I know, when you get those feelings, it's so hard.
Yeah.
This weekend, as a matter of fact, like I was having a moment where I was gonna have an anxiety attack, and I was sitting there and I was rocking back and forth. But what was the first thing? I was like, Lord, take over, give me peace. You know that this. No, I said I know that this is not of you. So take it away, take it away.
Right.
And immediately, I just thought I felt calmer. I felt at peace. I was able to breathe. It's hard. If you don't go through anxiety, you don't know the feeling. But
But
I've
you know
learned
what's so
to.
crazy? You laid into the Lord. You didn't lay into the feelings.
No,
You
I
you
didn't.
you let the Lord take over that, and that's what has to happen. Like, cause I've had anxiety. Well, I know I'd say okay, like I know when I'm stressing because my heart starts.
Hmm.
You know, I lay into the Lord and not into those feelings. So when you lay into the feelings, that's when you act out on them.
Exactly.
I know, girl. For
Exactly.
2 years, I did not know how to control it. Like,
Right.
I would let it take over to the point that I was literally shaking.
Right.
Not because I was cold, but because my nerves were literally like a mess inside me. And
Right.
I didn't know how to control it. I didn't lean on God. I was
Mm-hmm.
leaning on myself. I
Right.
was leaning on the problem. I was focusing on that problem. So it would take over my entire body. But
Right.
when I learned that I needed to give it to God, those feelings started to subside.
It's so crazy. Just lean away from the feeling and lean into the Lord. Like when I used to get into arguments with my daughter, or I would go back and forth and be that in that competitive,
Mm-hmm.
just exchanging words.
Yeah.
I had to learn how I had to lean into the Lord. I just had to walk away. That was my thing. I'm not even going to address this right now. I'm not even going to um I'm lost for words, but I'm not even going to
Entertain.
engage.
You're not gonna
Right.
entertain what
I'm
she's
not going to
doing at that
engage it.
moment.
Right. I'm not going to
Yeah.
engage this right now. So that was me not leaning into the argument, not leaning into the problem, not leaning into the outbreak, not leaning into because you just go, you can just go crazy and just, you know what I mean? You have to learn how to not lean into those feelings and just walk away from them or just let God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes we have to, as mothers, trust me, I have two young adults, young women, and they both have given me a run for my money. Trust me. Gigi knows firsthand,
Woo!
but they have given me a run for my money. I wouldn't change it for
Right.
anything in the world. But it's made me a better mom.
For sure.
Let me tell, and I have to tell you, just like you, Mimi, our relationship is amazing.
Right.
Now,
Right.
my daughter, she's my best friend.
Awesome.
She is my best friend. Like, oh
Oh,
my God, it's crazy our relationship. But
Yeah.
I have a great relationship with both my girls.
Right.
that's great. I love it.
Yeah.
This was awesome, ladies.
Yes, it was.
This is always, I was talking, Jackie, because I was like, this platform for me and just us, as we always talking and stuff, it just makes me hold myself to the fire. You understand? Like, make sure that staying the course that I'm supposed to stay with, that I'm living a life of purpose, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, because people are actually looking at us now.
Yes.
People are actually coming to us for advice. People, and I don't want to be a letdown for myself. I don't want to let down people either. Not that I don't want anybody to put me up on a pedestal, because I'm still flesh and blood of
Yes.
this I made. Did y'all get the song?
Yes.
No. Okay. But yeah, I love that. That it keeps me accountable. It makes me have to check myself even more. So I thank
It's
God for
funny you say that.
you ladies, and
I
we
always talk about real quick. I always talk about myself as an educator.
yeah,
Like, and I always say, like, I always have to make sure that when I'm outside, I'm behaving. I'm you know keeping up with a positive reputation, because I work in the same neighborhood where I teach.
right,
And I see children that I teach all the time. We bump into each other, families, and I don't ever want them to see me in a negative light. So you saying that, it keeps you accountable. This also, being an
right,
educator also keeps me accountable on the type of person, not only the type of person that I want to be, but just a role model for other people. And this
right.
from also the same thing, you know, it keeps me accountable,
Awesome.
for the things that I say, especially because I talk about being the love guru.
Mhm.
So, I don't want to portray a negative light in love or in my relationship. Like, it holds me accountable. And I'd be like, listen, how could I say all of these things to these people and then do the opposite of my relationship? No, I have to do the same things.
Right.
Exactly.
I love that. I
Mm.
love doing this, and I look forward to doing them. I look forward to all the places that the Lord is going to take us, and all our things that we're going to, accomplish together. And Until next time.
Absolutely.
On to Puerto Ricans and a Black Girl.
Love you, ladies.